All right, what is up, fellas? Ryan and Jacob show is back for your week 1 recap. The highly anticipated first week of the season is in the books, and we're going to start with the new minigame. Jacob's got the random number generator up. We have our list of our minigame categories, and we went through a few minutes ago and just picked out who would win on each one of those so that once we hit the number, we'll know exactly who won. I think we're going to generate these numbers, and whichever one hits 2 times first is going to be our winning number. So with that, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Yeah, like Ryan said, we're going to do 2 times, and so one does not count. So this is just the first time. So new mini game. Let's see how it goes, and let's get it started. So 5, 10,
5 and 10.
2,
Oh,
13.
oh man.
I gotta remember where all these numbers are. 9,
2, 5, 9, 10, 13.
3, which we can't do anyway. 2.
Oh,
So I win.
wow. Are you kidding me? Of course it's you. Of course it's you. What
So the most
hell?
kicker points were me with a nice little 13 ball from Robbie Gould. I know Ryan had second. He had 12 with his kicker.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, looking through just really quick again with the most kicker points, and 13 does win this week. So that's a cool $10 going into my winning pool.
Wow. That sucks.
That was fun.
That was stupid.
I like this minigame. So
I actually just realized that this new minigame sucks.
one winner.
Man, kicker points might be the only category I have a shot at winning this year, and you just took it from me.
Yep, and so we know that the third one we can't do till at least like week 6. But I'll just keep this Excel, and whoops, didn't mean to do that. And just keep that highlighted so we know that 2 cannot win anymore. And better luck to everybody next week. I had fun.
That's so stupid, dude. Your kicker sucks.
Probably the best kicker in the league. He'd probably win every week anyway. So that's just quick $10.
Let's get into your matchup then. Let's see this all-star kicker of yours.
So yeah, so my matchup with Jeff this week, we can just, I mean, look at that kicker. Beautiful MVP of the game. 13, wouldn't have won without him.
He missed one too. That's ridiculous.
He missed like a 55-yarder. I was pretty mad at the time, but then he hit another 50-yarder, so he made up for it.
Yeah, so why don't you walk us through your journey in beating Jeff? We all saw you coming into the weekend down 32 to like nothing. And, you know, Jeff, Bossie, everybody was counting you out.
Yeah, so I gave it a little blurb in my power rankings this week, what Jeff was saying after the Thursday night game. Lubasi was in my head saying, you know, oh, man, Jacob's going to have a really good waiver wire pickup after he takes this L. And I was, dude, right after, like, you weren't really talking that much shit till kind of Sunday, which it really wasn't that much anyway. But Lubasi and Jeff are on my head, and I'm like, dude, there's a whole like slate of games that need to be played still. Like, you got to chill out.
That's why I wasn't saying anything, because I knew that, like, you know, anything could happen in this shit.
Right, and I even said, like, Tyreek and Nick Chubb could give me 60 easy, and they gave me 52. And it was just a great week. Chubb had 2 touchdowns. Hill had, like, I think 15 receptions, and he had that 75-yard touchdown. Woods didn't get a touchdown until literally the last play, which won me the game. I was probably the hypest I've ever been in fantasy football when Stafford threw that. It was like, the craziest part about that, I know you watched that whole game, but that drive, they had a 3rd and 13 where they did like a screen pass to Cooper Kupp that got like 15 yards. Then they had like a 3rd and 10 on that drive that they just rushed it with Darrell Henderson, and he got like 12. So like that, the whole sequence was just super hyped to win after that play that Stafford just threw it to Robert Woods. And it was truly amazing. I don't think it was just true bliss on when he caught that. I didn't even know Robert Woods caught that till like a minute after I was celebrating. But Jeff, he has a good team. I mean, he showed out. If you remember, if you want to go back, can't go back because I deleted it, but he had the most receptions out of anyone this week. So he had 35 receptions. But like looking at his team, everyone did really well except for his defense. And I think we were both high on Jeff's team coming in, or not. I mean, not too high, but we thought he drafted a pretty good team, and he did pretty well.
Yeah, he did do pretty well. Probably didn't love to see that 13 coming from the quarterback spot. I think that was definitely one of the weak points. Justin Herbert was playing one of the better defenses in the league, though, so I'm not super surprised. But yeah, I mean, Jeff's team balled out. I mean, honestly, it looks a lot different without that 32 from Amari Cooper. That definitely elevated him quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody except for the defense at least performed, at a sufficient level.
Yeah, and everybody, I mean, anyone who played a Packers person or a defense this week, we'll get to it, was so disappointed. I mean, that was just an awful game. But looking at the bench, I mean, Jamal Williams did pretty well for me. Nothing really to write home about with this game on the bench. I think Jeff and I did pretty well on starting our starters and not really regretting too much. But yeah, I mean, beautiful game. Welcome to the league, Jeff. Week 1, you had a heartbreaking loss. I know in my power rankings I said you were the 4th highest score this week, and you just ran right into the guy with the 2nd highest score. So tough luck, and see if you can get a win next week. But we'll go to Jimmy and Chewy's, the game of the week that we decided due to just it being the COVID Cup rematch. What'd you think about this game, Ryan?
This was another pretty good game. Jimmy puts up 106, not bad, especially considering the fact that Aaron Rodgers put up 1.32 points. To your statement about the Packers, they just had probably the worst game that I've ever seen them play. I absolutely loved it. Made my PP a little hard to see the Packers struggling like that. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers suffers the brunt of it. 1 point. I don't know. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers puts up, he only needed 24 more points. That's not out of the realm of possibility for Aaron Rodgers if he plays at his own level. So that's really what kills Jimmy here. Julio puts up a pretty disappointing 4.4 for his Titans debut. He another guy that just kind of ran into a brick wall of another high-ass score with Chewy with 130. And just a couple guys that underperformed there. We gotta talk about how Joe Mixon, who we were both talking shit about, puts up a 23, kind of shuts our mouth. I don't think the Vikings defense sucks. So I think that's a pretty respectable score for a guy that I didn't expect to do too much. Justin Jefferson with 10, that's probably right around where his average is. So pretty good there. And then Devontae Smith, surprising rookie score there, 16. He looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, all rookies look good last. I know Waddle got a touchdown, Smith got a touchdown, Jamar Chase got a touchdown. All those rookie wide receivers where I said that they probably need a couple weeks to kind of get into the speed of the game, all kind of shut me up with those touchdowns. But, yeah, I mean, Jimmy did have a good week. But Chewy, highest score of the week. You can't really say anything negative about this performance. Everybody did pretty well. I guess the one thing you can maybe say is Leonard Fournette. I know we both watched that game. He dropped a couple passes. He didn't really look that whole running game just didn't look really in sync. So that was probably my only thing that maybe would be a question mark on this team, at least in week 1. But yeah, the Jalen Waddle right there. But yeah, I mean, Chewy showed out. He shut me up pretty good. I voted him worst team as a draft, and week one kind of punched me right in the jaw.
Yeah, he punched a lot of people in the jaw. I actually didn't vote his as worst team, so I feel a little less bad about it. But yeah, he just came out and shut up the haters and dropped the highest score of the week, highest score of the season. That's the bar. We'll see who's going to be the first one to crack it.
Yeah, so right now Chewy's winning $100, seeing that he is the highest score in 1 week and the highest score of the season. But we still got about 14 weeks remaining. But right now he's winning $100. But okay, so we'll get, yes. So we'll get to Chris and James, and this was another tight game. We did a Monday night or Monday evening vote on, because this was coming right down to the Monday night game. Who Chris had Darren Waller and then James had Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, and very disappointing debut I thought for Lamar and especially Mark Andrews. And Darren Waller did his thing. So Chris got the win, even though he got a goose egg from one of the receivers that I know you and Chris were high on, and Brandon. But I think Chris's team looked pretty good. I think those running backs might be a problem. I know in my write-up I said Derrick Henry might kind of digress this year, and the first week did not help Chris's cause. I think Henry only had like 13 yards in the first half. It was not good. That whole Tennessee game was just so brutal for any Titans guys. But yeah, what'd you think about this matchup?
Good matchup. Great showing from Jalen Hurts here. I think we talked about him in the preseason. Definitely a candidate to have a really great year, and he started off on a great note. Like you said, that Derrick Henry score, definitely, he probably hopes that that's the lowest score that he sees out of his number 4 pick.
Fourth.
Yeah, but anyway, hopefully that'll be the lowest score he sees out of him this year. Darren Waller balled out like we know that he could. That he just looked great last night. He looked like the only guy that Derek Carr was hardly even looking for. And yeah, Brandon Ayuk with the goose egg, not good. I don't know how Chris feels about that, but to see Judy go down and Ayuk to score a 0 there, he's probably not feeling super great about the wide receiver 2 spot, but he does have Jalen Reagor on the bench, who dropped a nice game with 13. Possible stack there with his quarterback. So he's got some options. But yeah, it did suck to see Ayuk put the 0 there, because I liked him coming to the year too.
Yeah, and I mean, we were both. I think the whole league it was really high, and probably still is high on James's team. But one stat that I pointed out in my power rankings was Austin Eckler did not have a reception that whole game. He didn't even have a target. So I thought that was kind of a big red flag, because I mean, he doesn't score too many touchdowns, even though he scored a touchdown in week 1. But his points really come from receptions and yards off, yards after the catch. So that was just a pretty, I wouldn't say alarming statistic yet, just because it's only week 1, but something to kind of keep an eye on, because Herbert likes to sling the ball. So that'll be interesting to see. And then also in my write-up, I said Hopkins and Kupp could have top 5 potential with those wide receivers. I think those wide receivers are going to be do very good for James. I love those 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, that's definitely a good duo to have there in the wide receiver spot, which can hopefully maybe uplift him just in case he has some of these weeks like this, with the running back spot looking pretty weak. I mean, James Robinson with a 6.9, that's definitely not what you want to see. The Jaguars were pretty much down this whole game, though. The Jaguars. And kind of went into pass mode pretty early. I think Trevor Lawrence threw like 50 to 60 passes, which was insane. But still, you hate to see that out of your running back 2. Pretty brutal tight end score for Mark Andrews. Yeah, like you're pointing out here, big bright spot on the bench. Tyson Williams has a great game as the apparent Ravens starting running back or at least for now. So another great option for James coming off the bench, only to make the team stronger and maybe help that running back spot for him.
Yeah, I have to see if James can. I don't know who he plays next week, but it'll be interesting, because I wouldn't mind him starting 0-2 just because I still think he has a really good team, and just as many losses as he can rack up is good for that division. But another guy that kind of shut me up in week 1 is Johnny. We're going to Johnny and Lubassi's game, which was pretty tight knit. But I think the most impressive statistic in this whole game is Johnny put up minus 0.6 with 2 guys and still put up 125. That is ridiculous.
Yes, very impressive. And Zeke only put up 4.9.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
you gotta attribute most of that to that Kyler Murray 33. I mean, that's just a hell of a score.
Yeah, Kyler Murray looked like a front runner in the MVP. I know it's week 1, so but early MVP candidate is definitely Kyler. I don't even think the Titans defense is that bad. So I would think they're maybe a middle of the road defense. So for Kyler to do that was pretty impressive. And Josh Jacobs, he got 2 touchdowns with only 10 carries. So I think that number is kind of inflated. I still don't love Johnny's team, but I mean, he had just had a tremendous week 1 and just got to give him props for that.
I think it looks like his team could be very touchdown dependent. So, I mean, look, Josh Jacobs 2 touchdowns. I think DK had a touchdown. Hawkinson had a touchdown. Did Thielen have 2? Did you say that?
Yeah, Thielen had 2.
Yeah, so, I mean, the guy scored just an unreal amount of touchdowns across the team. So it'll be something to watch for Johnny's team to see if, without the touchdowns, if he can put up similar numbers. And you got Gronk down there on the bench too with 25, who also put up 2 touchdowns.
And then Jamar Chase, who also put up a touchdown too.
Dude, this guy is touchdown machine. See if his team can keep up the touchdown pace, then this is a team to watch out for. But what's it look like without the touchdowns? That remains to be seen. We'll see if he can keep up the pace.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure Jamar Chase goes into that flex spot next week, and the Browns defense isn't going to be playing Kansas City again this year. So, I mean, you're not going to expect those two to be basically goose eggs anymore, hopefully throughout the season. So Johnny's got some, he had a good week some areas, bad weeks others. They should kind of balance each other out, and for his sake, he probably hopes that that would just lead to more wins. But then you got Lubassi's team, who didn't really do all that bad. He scored 108. He had the 6th highest score this week. And Corey Davis, I mean, that was just a great pick so far. It seems like that's going to be the favorite target for the Jets, at least for the first couple of weeks. That rookie quarterback, what's his name again?
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. It looked like, it was garbage. I think it was basically garbage time. I think they were down like 19-3 or 19 to something, and they were just throwing the ball the whole 4th quarter. And Corey Davis got a lot of looks, so that's a guy to keep a watch just for a good sleeper pick. But the stack didn't really work that well this week. The Steelers' defense is very good, and then I mean, I don't want to keep harping on this Green Bay game, but Devontae Adams' first pick to get under 10. I feel like every first round pick should minimum get double digits each week.
Yeah. You think, especially he was a top 8 pick. What Lubasi gave him?
Yeah, I think he was 9,
maybe. Yeah. Okay.
9.
Yeah. So you definitely want, and especially a guy that caliber. That's probably, most people would say, the best wide receiver in the league. There may be some arguments to that nowadays, but this is a guy that you would expect to be putting up some big numbers, and 8.1, not great. But yeah, Corey Davis, what a shining star. I wish I had him.
Yeah, and he also had a shining star kind of on the bench. He told us that last minute he switched Swift off of the bench. I was like, why would you do that? And I didn't even know this. I guess Jamal Williams actually started that game, even though Swift got, I think, double the carries or double the snaps that Jamal Williams got. So it's kind of weird that they gave Williams a start, but Swift got more carries. So I don't know why the Lions did that, but that kind of scared Lubasi out of 20 points. But he replaced him with Melvin Gordon, which got, 1 point less, which wouldn't have helped him anyway. But that was just interesting to kind of see. And then you got Mike Williams on the bench too that just went off. He looks like a favorite target for Herbert. Like I said, when we were talking with Eckler, Herbert likes to sling the ball, and then Mike Williams is the guy that is downfield and will get catches if he stays healthy.
Yeah, and it's funny that he made that switch for Swift and Melvin Gordon, and then Melvin ends up getting that 70-yard run to save the score. Otherwise he would have just had a dog shit score. So I thought that was funny to see. But yeah, some definite positive notes on the bench for him to at least pick and choose from next week if he wants to play around. I can't see the Swift wouldn't be in the starting lineup next week. But yeah, I mean, Bossie showed some flashes here. I think he's got something to work with at least. I know he's probably talking about some trades somewhere here and there too. So we'll see how he does moving forward coming off this loss. I know he's definitely motivated to turn things around.
Yeah, I think everyone who's lost week one, you never want to lose week one, but it just makes you okay, I need you don't want to start 0-2. You need to get that win next week. So it'll be interesting to see all these 0-1 teams and how they do and see if they can get that W. But so we'll go to Dom and Rudy. And this was a good game. Dom came out slinging on Thursday night. And then Rudy kind of like I did, kind of came back, just kind of chiseled his way back into this game and ended up winning. And, I mean, Tyler Lockett literally had 4 catches, and 2 of them were touchdowns. So that's just I think that's just an inflated score that we might not see that again. And then Deebo Samuel, probably the steal so far of the draft, in my opinion, 27 points, great game. But the rest of his team – and Dak too had a really good game, but the rest of his team kind of underperformed.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got basically those big double-digit scores, and then everything else is single digits, 3, 4, 7, 7, 1. So yeah, I mean, these 3 guys basically won the game for him, and good on him. I mean, Dak was a great pick. I don't know how many eyes were on him necessarily this year coming off the injury, but he came back and looked like he hadn't missed a beat. Saquon, tough score there, but we kind of expected it. Javonte Williams is a backup running back again. I mean, that 4 is probably to be expected. So, yeah, I'm still not thinking Rudy's team super strong. We'll see if he can keep up the pace with that. I just don't think he can. So let's get on to Dom's team.
Yeah, and Dom, again, there's a Green Bay guy, your first pick. I think he was actually the 5th pick, just underperformed. And what these guys are hoping is that Green Bay, this was just a fluke game, and they're going to come back even stronger the next week. They do have the Lions this week, so they should, be able to kind of get that win, that good feeling of actual offense going. At least that's what people are hoping. But the running backs did not do well. But the wide receivers shined. Brady and Godwin's hookup looks like a pretty good hookup or a pretty good stack. Higbee had a lot of catches, or a lot of targets, I should say, for a tight end. But I think I said this in the power rankings. If he would have played Marquise Brown, and I don't know if he was really debating the flex as hard, I think Chase Claypool was the pick, before we know what happened in week 1. I think Claypool was the pick. But, I mean, a Marquise Brown play would have won him the game. So, I mean, those little things that, you go back and just oh, I wish I would have done that. Yep. Sometimes just eat away at you. And it's tough pill to swallow. And it's even tougher if he actually was thinking about playing Marquise Brown. That would have hit him way hard.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough loss, seeing that your bench, you had so many options on the bench that you could have played there and got a different result. That's always tough to see. You hate to look at it that way, but you can't help it sometimes. So a tough loss for Dom, but his team looks, again, another team that looks like it has good potential. If the running backs kind of turn their things around, this is a scary team. So, all right, let's get into the toilet bowl of the week, or maybe the year. I don't know. This was pretty pitiful. We can just really briefly brush over my terrible performance. My quarterback goes down on the 3rd drive of the game. out for the season, or at least 6 to 8 weeks probably. I think he something with his hip.
Yeah, at least 3 games.
Oh, okay, so 3. Yeah, see, then it says about 6 to 8. Anyway, he goes down on the third drive. He couldn't get anything going on the first 2. I mean, he's in a new offense, getting used to things. The season just started. I don't see anything bad in that, but just a brutal way to go down on the third drive of the game. That's absolutely devastating, especially for my fantasy team because he didn't even get a full point. But with that, my other guys, my running backs, they all performed great. My receivers, which I knew was kind of my weak spot, didn't do all that well. Terry McLaurin, his quarterback, goes down first quarter. Tyler Boyd just wasn't getting too many looks. And then Johnny Smith had a pretty decent day, I think, for where I got him as a tight end. I'm not mad at the 7 from him. And my defense and kicker looked great. But, I got some things to do. I made a trade today that everyone can think what they want, but I think it was good for me, what I need. I'm going to have a new quarterback in there. So we're ready to bounce back in Old Town.
Yeah, I mean, Fitzpatrick was projected 17 points. So if he gets you 17, you win by 5 points. So, yeah, devastating injury for Fitz. Hopefully he recovers and he gets back on the field because he makes that Redskins team a lot, more firepower. He throws the ball a lot more. He's more accurate than Heineke or whatever the guy's name is who replaces him. So it'll be interesting to see how the Redskin guys do without Fitz. But yeah, going to Matt's team, he did not play defense, and actually it was probably good that he didn't because I think his defense got -1, which they did. So that was a good no play by Matt, but I think it was just more so he was already up and he didn't want to risk it. But really the story on this is his running backs did not do well, especially Najee Harris. And he actually played every single snap, but just couldn't get anything going. And I know the Bills have a pretty stout defense. It's going to be really interesting to see how he does the rest of the season. And like I said in my write-up, he's kind of giving me a little Trent Richardson vibes, which if you know his first year actually in the league was really okay just because he got so many touchdowns. So I think Najee might be touchdown dependent this year. And for a second-round running back pick, you really hope that's not the case. But yeah, his bench receivers actually outscored his receivers, so he's going to have some fun times trying to get the right receivers in play, or at least the correct play. But yeah, I still like Matt's team, but he ended up with a win, so I guess he can't be too mad. He just has to look for week 2 and hopefully get the win there.
Yeah, and speaking of devastating injuries, he had Raheem Mostert go down for the season. Yep. That's a really tough loss, but I feel like everyone kind of knows that Raheem Mostert's got that little asterisk next to him, like beware of injury, because the guy can't seem to stay healthy, and if you look at him wrong, he's down with something. So yeah, he'll be looking to replace that flex spot, and maybe Allen Robinson he's going to put up more than 6 at most weeks, especially once Fields gets in there. He'll definitely be putting up more than that. So I think Matt, again, I know I've said it for a lot of teams, but definitely some potential here. I think everyone kind of has potential. It's only been 1 week. We've seen now we go into week 2 where we find out, was week 1 a fluke for some guys and who's going to stay consistent. We're definitely going to keep our eyes on that Packers offense, and because there's a lot of fantasy teams that are probably kind of chomping at the bit trying to see what's going to go on with these Packers in week 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think our time is running out here, so we'll have to talk about other things in podcasts, especially the trade that Ryan made today. A lot to discuss with that. So we might do another podcast before week 2, but if not, we'll talk about it after week 2.
Yep. So that's been your week 1 recap, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.